All right, folks, we're going to quickly talk about our replacement for the 2415 Kershaw. Love this blade, been carrying this blade, not this exact one, this was actually my replacement, but I opted now, because these are now discontinued, this blade, sadly, is discontinued. This is the one actually I carried everywhere. Very, very dirty, disgusting, you know, not well taken care of. But the rubber part failed, and because it's rubber, over time it failed. But it had a couple of things that I really liked, like this liner lock that allowed the lock would allow the push on the blade this way. It wasn't going to come down on your fingers because of this liner lock, which is the first time I'd ever seen that. Normally, or not normally, but on other blades you have things like the bucks with a lock right here where the blade snaps out and this lock back here kind of holds it in. You have to press that lock down to get it out. This was the first liner lock that I'd ever seen. And it used to have this silver stud for the thumb stud right here, but I tried switching them out and it didn't work out. This blade here, which is what I switched out that thumb thing for, thumb stud, I don't like this blade because when you put it in your pocket, this is so big that it catches on your pocket, and then it'll catch this, and then everything goes to hell in a handbasket when you go to pull it out. The blade's coming out while you're trying to pull it out. It's not happy. So you had to get it replaced. And what am I going to replace it with? So this is going to be, now let's get on to what we're talking about. This is going to be the 2415 versus some of the new blades from Kershaw. So I went over to Amazon, and I'm going to leave this guy out, even though this isn't the same, this isn't as nice as the other one, but this is the replacement. But this is the 2415, okay? And I wanted to get a replacement. So the first thing I got was the Cryo. I actually got two at one time because they were so inexpensive from Amazon. I went ahead and got the Cryo and also the Pico. The Pico and the Cryo. So let's go over the Cryo really quickly. Differences between the 2415, first of all, the weight, and that's a negative for me. Didn't like how heavy it was. Second thing is the belt clip. This belt clip is actually really, really far off the knife, and also really, really short, really shallow, so not exactly something that I was looking for. It does have thumb studs, but as much as I tried, I could not use the thumb stud to get the blade out. You have to literally grip it and then pull it out from the thumb stud if you want, so I don't know if it's technically a thumb stud. Anyway, some of the benefits of this are the frame lock. Super, super sturdy, very, very strong in comparison to, say, maybe a liner lock, which is usually a thinner piece of metal. It might not even be the frame, it might not have to be metal, but the lock can be, which can lighten the blade, but the liner lock is not as thick as a piece of metal. But honestly, for what we're doing with it, not really that big of a deal. Cryo has things like this really good gripping right here. No gripping where the index finger goes, but that's not a big deal because it's so large, it'd be hard to get down. The thumb, though, unbelievable amount of grip up there. I mean, your thumb, the soft flesh of your thumb, falls into those little grooves and it cannot move. So it's almost like it's like locked, and I'd call it almost like a thumb lock. Otherwise, great blade. Heavy, though. It is somewhere around the neighborhood of 4.4 ounces, which makes it considerably heavier than the 2415. 2415, this guy around 2.2 ounces. So again, twice the weight on this blade. It's also much, much wider. When we close these two and put them next to each other, you can see how much wider it is. It's incredibly wider. So great blade. Thumb press, a finger press release, which I'd never seen before. A button press, I think is what they call it. I could be wrong. There's not really a button, but otherwise great blade. Closes the exact same way as the 2415 by pressing in that lock. Pressing in the lock liner. In this case, it's a frame lock, so we have to pull this away from the blade, the base, to get it to go in. Same thing as the liner lock. Great blade otherwise. Pretty. It's got all these pretty things like, you know, the lanyard ring has like a little insert in it, makes it black. There's this weird screw for, I think it's just aesthetics. And then again, this belt clip, can be moved from either here or up here, or here or here. So it's 4 positions. So if you like your blade in different configurations for the clip, this guy does everything for you. Again, Cryo, great blade, super inexpensive. Next was the Pico. Great blade as well. Very, very similar to the Cryo. Very similar. This one, though, only has 2 places to put the clip. but it is I don't know if they classify it as deep pocket. To me, it almost is, just because only this part's coming out. Lanyard doesn't have all the black accents. This Pico doesn't anyway, but otherwise a great blade. Pico's belt clip, same frame color as the frame, so that's nice. Just an inexpensive black insert here, keeping the spacers there. That's fine. Push button only, no thumb studs whatsoever. Slightly smaller thumb area there, and then on this though, the index finger does have a really nice rough serrated area there that you can kind of get when you grip the blade. You're not going to slide down. And up here, not so much, but a little bit there anyway. Versus my old one had nothing like that, nothing at all. It's actually a straight shoot. So if I were to be pushing down on this blade at all and I were to slip, my hands are greasy, anything like that, I'm going to slip right down on the blade. So that was one of the negatives of the 2415. These blades, though, the newest ones from Kershaw, this Pico and the Cryo, not having that issue because of the fact that when you grip this blade, there are multiple areas that prevent you from slipping into the blade. This guy here, this tang here, and then of course the thumb stud, or the thumb kind of roughy bit there. You're definitely going to hold on to that blade. Blade is also incredibly wider than the original. Not a huge fan of the width and the size of that, right? Pico also, while Pico sounds like a smallish word, or a word that means small, I think it does actually, it's not a small blade in comparison to, say, almost, and then you could consider these almost like a penknife. These are pretty thin and small, but it's something I've carried for years, so I kind of was looking for something more like that. So again, the Pico, great blade, frame lock, but heavy. Again, almost the same weight as the Cryo. So again, great blade, not exactly what I was looking for though. Remember, I'm looking to replace this, which is a lot lighter, a lot smaller. That's what comes to the actual replacement blade, which you've seen hanging out in the corner there, and that is the Leek, the Kershaw Leek. Why Kershaw? This was a Kershaw blade, so I went looking for Kershaw blades. They're also the inexpensive blade manufacturer, so that, you know, perfect. Blade. This was $50. These are actually cheaper, even though they're heavier. They're like $25, $30, where this was $50. I think though that all the benefits are there for $50. It has everything that the Cryo and them do. The thumb area on the top of the blade not as big. Here, the index finger not as big. That's fine, because remember, this is a smaller blade. This blade actually does the, you know, all together, it actually is almost the same size as the 2415, almost. It's a little bit bigger, but it's actually a little thinner. So, you know, give and take a little bit. This belt clip, perfect. Kind of longish, but also has not too much in the way of rise up on the side. Love that. Extra feature is this lock, which slides this little bar over the tip of the blade that doesn't allow it to come out. So now, no matter, even if in my pocket, if my pocket were to catch on it, this itty bitty little bar, by sliding this little thing, keeps it from going in there. So it keeps it from coming out. So let's look at the blade itself. It does have the push button, which I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, it's spring assisted, so it still comes out super quick. But that means that there's constant tension. That's one of the reasons I think for that lock. But there's constant tension on the blade once it reaches a certain point that makes this push button work so well. It just flies out like butter. I've heard that if the spring were to fail, which not many do, but if they do, it's still loose enough that that will work. You just have to push it really quickly and hard and it'll pop out. I really like, though, is that the thumb studs actually work, unlike the Cryo. The Cryo, again, I could not figure out a way unless I pinched both sides and pulled it open with the thumb stud, which to me sounds like a thumb and index finger stud, allowed it to pop out. This guy pops out just as beautifully as the 2415, just as beautifully. If I put my thumb out there and I just flick it out, it's now out. That blade came right out, just as like the other one too. Again, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to look cool. It was just, I've now been dealing with the 2415 and it works so well. Why not have something that works well as, you know, as well as my old model? Why would I get, you know, I'm not going to go down, which is what I felt like I did with the Cryo and the Pico. Great blades, but they don't act like my old blade, the 2415, which they sold a lot of, and a lot of people are probably trying to replace them. So again, for a replacement for the 2415, I cannot suggest enough the Leek. Leek is amazing, relatively inexpensive, not the 3025 really low end, even the the Gerbers and even the lower ones you can find in Walmart. I found this in Walmart, $50. Doesn't have a serrated blade. I did find the serration on the 2415 to be difficult to get sharpened, but this is a straight blade I can sharpen myself all the way through. You can get a serrated blade for this. You can also get it in a silver finish, right, or silver-ish aluminum finish. You can also get it a scooch bit lighter. This is actually almost the exact same weight as my 2415, so I don't mind this weight at all. But it could be lighter from what I understand if you get the different frames. So again, the Leek from Kershaw replaces my 24, my ultimate, I thought, knife was this 2415. Super light, pops out super quick. I think this is actually this thumb stud replacement. This is the cheap black plastic one they had. I put it on this one hoping I was going to get it replaced, but this one, everything is now fluid. But again, amazing. Love this knife. Love the Leek. Leek's been a super beaut, and it's now my replacement. So if you're looking for a replacement for the 2415, I cannot say enough that the Leek is exactly what you're looking for. 2415 replacement, the Kershaw Leek, $50, comes in different shades and colors. Definitely check it out if you're looking for it to replace your 2415.